Hello and welcome to Hardy Party of 5.5.
What's up?
Rebecca, are you ready to talk comedy?
Sure.
Are you ready to talk TV? Are you ready to talk music? Are you ready to talk Marvel Universe?
I'm ready for all those things.
You're ready for everything. You're ready for anything.
Yes.
That's what we're going to learn today on the podcast. You have
Be
to
ready.
Be ready anytime. You never know what's going to happen.
Be available.
Okay, so my first question to you today is, what's like your favorite comedy on TV right now?
Oh,
like
right
TV
now,
show?
currently?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going old school, I would say I watch Three's Company a lot.
Three's Company?
I love Three's Company.
Oh, man.
You wouldn't have said Three's Company?
I don't think I would have said Three's Company.
Were you a child of the 70s?
I totally watched it. But when you go back, have you looked at it lately? It doesn't age well. There's a lot of shows that don't age well.
That's true. Okay, so currently though, listen, I love me some Abbott Elementary.
Oh, you like Abbott Elementary?
I can't think about it without laughing. There are some characters on the principal. I want to be her. I think Ava, she's so funny, so unfit to be.
I think you are Ava. You said that before.
There are things that she does that I'm like, I would have totally thought or said that. I just love it when you can like really resonate with the character, you know.
Well, and when the characters are so well done and thought through that you can just go, oh, that's that person, that's that type of person.
Yes.
And in the workplace, you have those kind of people.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. One day we were with friends that he's a sergeant in the police force here locally. And I was just like, because we watch a lot of cop shows and like Blue Bloods, which we had a Blue Bloods cast member on. You need to check that out. We had Sid on.
That's right.
That's a little
name drop.
Yeah, name drop. So I asked him, I'm like, what's the most realistic like cop show? And I'm thinking he's going to say CSI or, you know, some of the more serious things.
Yeah.
He totally said Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is like a silly comedy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting this answer. So why is Brooklyn Nine-Nine the most realistic? And he said on most days in police work, it's quirky people hanging around the office doing quirky things, just like in the show. So that was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
And we are definitely talking quirky today. And I think all these the shows we just talked about, you've got Abbott Elementary and you've got Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They are just like the show we're going to talk about a lot today is The Office. And they have quirky characters that are done so well that you just, like you say, you resonate with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they're so popular is you just, you know someone in your life that is like that.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That's true because you like with The Office or with lots of shows like that, it's like you look in your family and you go, okay, if I was in The Office, what character would I be?
Right, yeah.
Like that's how you know it's a good show when you're like pinpointing your family and you're making them each one of the characters.
Yeah.
And that's how Office is.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. And today on the show, we have someone that was on The Office.
Oh, yeah.
But not only on The Office. List some of the things she's done.
Okay, Stomp.
Yes.
She was also a theatrical director for The Lion King. So we're talking Broadway. We're talking on stage. Now she is doing some amazing things with Disney. And I can't even tell you. You're just going to love this interview. You're going to want this interview to be 6 hours long. And we'll have to have her back on maybe. But we'll start now with you getting to enjoy this awesome interview with AMEENAH Kaplan. Thank you so much for joining Hardy Party of 5.5 today. You, girl, you are like peeling an onion. You have so many amazing things. How have you done so many things in your life?
It's called the Avoid Waiting Tables business plan of life. That's, you know, it's not qualified to wait tables, therefore must make a career in entertainment business plan.
You definitely have done that.
That's for sure.
For sure. You've got so many cool things about you. As he was doing all the research and peeling back all the layers, and I was like, this lady has done so many things.
Cool.
So we can't wait to talk about it. So let's, with like, I watched some of your videos on like when you were 19, some of the movements they taught you and all that kind of stuff, but you started drumming at age 12.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to start drumming?
I think honestly, drumming is the only thing that I actually really do. And it's so nothing really inspired me. It's a funny thing looking back on it now. I just sort of always have played drums. So 12 was when I learned my first rhythm on a drum set.
Okay.
So the inspiration for that would have probably just been seeing friends of mine playing. There was a kid down the street, Brad, that had a drum set in his garage, and he taught me how to play Bolt the Blue Sky on the drum set. And that was my first by U2, for
Yeah.
those people who don't know U2,
Yeah.
from the 90s. I'm from the 90s. And so he taught me that, but I had been drumming and beating on things since age 9. So
Okay.
I always say I started beating on things around age 9 because I have those early memories of beating on school desks and stuff. And then age 12 playing drum set. So I would probably give it to Michael Jackson's Thriller record was a big inspiration for me that year. I remember very clearly that being the record that I was like, I'm a musician. I'm hearing the music. So that's age 9.
Yeah.
Drum set age 12.
Wow.
So did you get in trouble at school for drumming, or did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's be real about that. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. What's funny is I just over the pandemic I reconnected with that teacher from 4th grade because I was 9 years old, 4th grade, Miss Holmes. And I just sent her a message and I was like, look, I probably drove you totally crazy, but I remember you had this technique for me where if I would behave in class, then you would let me listen to Michael Jackson's Thriller record.
Wow.
And you're a 9-year-old kid, you have no context for any of this at all, but talking to Miss Holmes all those years later, she remembered me, and she remembered, as all good teachers do, they remember what they're doing with a particular mischievous little kid like I was. And she absolutely saw in me that potential as a musician, as a drummer. She said that she too had been a girl drummer. She had marched in drum corps, and she saw herself in me and was like, look, I'm going to try and keep her out of trouble, I guess, and, put these superpowers towards something good. So she totally saw it and was fostering it at a young age. So I owe her a lot.
Right.
No, that's awesome, because we hear a lot about zero tolerance, or if somebody's acting up, you take care of it and let's not do that again.
Yeah.
But it's cool that she knew you enough to go, okay, there's something here and I got to figure out how we can make this work.
How to foster it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case with a bunch of my teachers. I was definitely a little scramp, like running around, just crazy little kid, like very mischievous. But I had a couple of teachers like that. Now that you say it, it's that saw in me potential over the years that helped to steer me towards, again, using my superpowers for good as opposed to being a juvenile delinquent.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So did you march in high school?
I didn't. No, I was in the concert band. I was more drum set player and was in concert band. And I don't know if our high school, Avondale High School, had a marching band. I don't think that we did. We had concert band, and I played for that. Yeah.
You mentioned drum corps, so that's what led me to like were you marching in high school and then got into something like that.
Well, I love that stuff. I mean, I love it. And I don't really have drum corps skills. I mean, I'd like to think that I do. I can read music, I can definitely follow along and see what they're doing. But, and I did teach for Blue Man, which is more of a marching band kind of style. But,
Our oldest son did Carolina Crown.
Okay.
So we know all about.
He was the trombone player.
He's trombone or baritone. He plays brass.
Which is dope. Which is
so
awesome.
Were you in a band in high school? Were you in a rock band or a pop band?
Not really. No, I didn't really have that, parents were like, make a band in the garage. My parents were like, what are you doing? What is this nonsense that is happening? So I didn't really invest in playing. Like, it was all sort of piecemeal, just me doing it, banging on stuff. Like I said, the kid taught me at 12. And by the time I got to high school, I was playing drum set, but I was pretty terrible. And so I just, I didn't even really have the idea to get in a band. Like, it was like, go to school, go home, do your homework, go to school, go. There were no detours outside of going to school. So going to performing arts high school was my saving grace because it meant I did plays and stuff after school. And that's the school where I was in concert band and stuff like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. So then eventually you make your way to Stomp. And I have what might be a silly question, but some of the videos I watched of you looked like step routines. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did some step, and then Stomp is different than that though, right? Yeah. Or did you incorporate that at all? Or how did you
they're cousins. They're cousins. Okay. I would say that Stomp borrowed, like all good shows, borrows from all awesome things artistic in the world. And Stomp is an amalgamation of lots of different cultures, African, Brazilian, Afro-Cuban, and stepping comes from two cultures, really. I give the full credit to the African boot dance culture, which is where really stepping came from. But I also really have to give that nod to the American, HBCU community, like that historically Black colleges and universities community, because they really did define what stepping really is. Okay. And it's a thing that happens in fraternities and in the Greek world. And so I do step a little bit. But I'm much more of a drummer and a body percussionist who also steps. So I give that credit to those HBCU, those fraternity and sorority. I didn't step in college. Like I wasn't a part of a sorority or anything like that because I was too busy dropping out to do stunts.
So then eventually you do become an original cast member of Stomp. How did you get there? From not knowing how to play the drums and all these people teaching you things and all the things that you along the way.
That's how. That's it.
Yeah.
People teach you along the way. You teach yourself along the way. You learn, you absorb. Any drummer that I ever ran into, I would just pull him or her aside. It happened to be all men, but I would pull them aside and be like, hey, teach me something. And they would. And they would see potential in you and they'd say, okay, I'll teach you something. So by the time I got to college, I went to Tisch School of the Arts at NYU. I was a drummer, at least, I professed to be one. I was playing drum set and you couldn't tell me I didn't play drum set, even though I was pretty terrible. And then I got in Stomp and basically, a buddy of mine saw a flyer that said, we're looking for dancers who like to beat on things and drummers who like to jump around. He was like,
that sounds like you.
Yeah, this is you. And I was like, okay. And, and just got lucky. And I was in the first American cast because it is a British show that had original British cast to it. But I was in the first American cast at 19 and I think I just had the right set of qualities, including being young and dumb, that they were looking for that show. She's dumb and young. Let's bring her in. We can tell her anything. She'll believe us. And I did. And I was just like, stomper. I was like, stomp, 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 and
that's so cool. And then that really probably just boosted your confidence because it feels like up to that point, you were maybe kind of like here, there, and everywhere. And this was like, this is what I am so good at. And this is my wheelhouse. So it really probably gave you a big boost.
It did. Yeah. Well, that's a good way to think of it. It definitely, because I was definitely sort of an oddball and a fish out of water. And like, where's that quirky little drummer girl going to go? She's not really a singer, which is what people often think. Black girls, it's like, you sing, right? I'm like, nope, I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
Dance, right? And it's like, I dance a little bit, but I'm more of a choreographer. Yeah. So Stomp really did help me find my niche in the arts, help me understand what I thought of, in terms of how to reach an audience and how to do it with spectacle and how to, meet them where they're at. And it definitely is a lot of the principles about art and business and the business of art that I learned in Stomp for sure. Yeah.
Well, it makes me think of Julius Erving. Dr. J played for the Sixers. He said, I was reading an interview with him one time, and he said, I'm fat. He said, I'm faithful, available, and teachable. And that just sounds like you've just been available at the right time and you've been teachable when you get that opportunity.
Try to be, try to be, you try to be ready is what it is, and I think about, you say that, and I think about all of the opportunities that I've missed or all of the failures that I've had, of course you think about that, but I suppose along the way somewhere I was pretty lucky and had my ears open enough to learn and to get some good opportunities in our business for sure. I've had some.
Well, those failures, they're needed. That's also pushed you along in your journey too.
No question. Yeah. I remind everyone that I've failed so much more than I've succeeded. Like, good grief! You want to rattle off that resume? I tell you, the failures are like.
Yes. Yeah.
That list is
And I think especially for younger generation, which we'll talk about in a little while, you know, it's like they need to see that. They are so bombarded with the social media that says your house should look this way, you should act this way, you should look this way, you know, like all the things. It's like I didn't know what my friend's kitchen looked like unless I went to my friend's house when we first got, you know, like just needing to be real like that and say, I've had some failures and this is life, and you pull yourself up and, you know, you keep pushing and here's where you can get to.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I honestly, I lead with my failures, frankly. I just feel like, you know, I mean, they're so much more abundant than my successes. Some, you know, it's like they keep me having perspective. But, you know, sometimes it is good to sort of enjoy one's success. It is good, you know, to not always be thinking about all of the negative things or whatever, because it's easy for that to happen in our business. There's so much rejection. When I was an actor, you know, there's so much of that, you know, but yeah, having a sense of how much you've learned and where you've learned it from is good.
It's important.
Okay, you mentioned Blue Man Group earlier. So you're a drum coach. You were a drum coach for Blue Man Group. I've seen them a couple of times now. I love it. Like they're so quirky and odd. And so what is coaching drums for Blue Man Group like?
It was profound. Honestly, it was this awesome experience. So I can say it in a serious way, but in the joking way, I'd say, you know, I've met every good-looking 6 foot tall guy in LA, like legit. Every good-looking 6 foot tall guy in LA has sat across from me and auditioned for Blue Man Group. And it was an awesome experience because I don't really consider myself a teacher. I love the profession, have a lot of respect for the men and women and people who do it. I just was sort of dipping my toe in it, and I enjoyed doing it for Blue Man. It was very concentrated. You know, you're sitting there one-on-one with this human being, and you would be surprised or maybe not surprised to learn how much of their personal psychology came into the sessions with them. And my sister said, you know, you could make a documentary. The thing about me is I'm such an immediate person. Like I don't always take a picture. I'm just like right there in the moment. And also it's a private session, so I wasn't recording those sessions or anything, but I learned so much about men, the human psyche, and just going, you know, people who are in a state, you know, of their career where they're going for something that most of them did not get. And what do you do after that? And those were some of the biggest like takeaways that I had, were just the way in which our career affects the people who are involved in it. I saw guys literally quit the business after their auditions. Yeah, it was that intense. And that is not to say anything negative about the Blue Man organization, because in fact, like I would say the opposite. It's one of the most positive experiences that I've had in my career. And to become a Blue Man is just a really stringent process, you know, and the gatekeeping is vast. And then when I realized why, I was like, got it. This is because these guys are really protecting the show. Like I call the Blue Men Buddha men, because I mean, these are some of the most well adjusted, emotionally available, emotionally evolved, present men I've ever worked with. And Blue Man keeps it that way by having a pretty stringent process to get into the show. And it's intense, fulfilling, hard work, and wow, was it fun. Like I really enjoy teaching them. Yeah, I learned a lot about men.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, you're behind the drum behind the drum kit for like Rihanna, Macy Gray, Rod Stewart. So you talk about the teaching side. So as a player, how is it different as a player when you're just doing your thing?
Oh my God, it's totally different. It's the performer versus the teacher. It's, you know, as that teacher, I mean it. Like I am really inside of these men's psychology, and you have to be very careful with them because you open them up in a way, you know, you unlock something. Like you may just the learning something new at age 29 can be difficult, and so you have to be very careful. Whereas when I'm a drummer, I'm there to hit it. I'm there
right.
to have fun. I'm there to like to not be the one who's on, I'm there to just be to just be loud and be told to be quiet.
And keep
tone it down, tone it down.
Yeah, just like that's like this is drummers, this is what we get. That's what so I'm just there for that. Yeah, I've played drum set with all those people. Rihanna, I did percussion for her, and I did a whole bunch of percussion like taiko and choreography for that and djembes and all kind of stuff. But I just want to set the record straight. For her, I played percussion and not drum set because they're different.
So what is Rihanna like? Like we just saw her on the Super Bowl and all that. What's she like to hang out with and
so I would never profess to say that I know this individual. What I would say is that I've worked for her a few times and that she's been hella cool with me the times that I have worked with her.
Yeah.
And I got the sense from her that she was like the real deal. And by that, I mean somebody who was marching to the beat of her own drummer, that she was very like, she's going to do it her own way, which I greatly respected because I feel like I'm very similar. I think that's probably why I got to work with her a couple times because the vibe was right, in terms of just like that woman to woman, sister to sister, that kind of vibe. I think it was a good vibe. And so I enjoyed it very much, and I think she's cool. She gave me a very, very good, firm handshake, which I appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. I always appreciate that.
Yeah, you
feel
can
the
tell
same
a
thing
lot.
about a handshake. You can tell a lot about a person.
Yeah, she gave me a good, firm handshake, and I was like, okay, she's in the pocket. The next time I saw her, she gave me a hug, and I thought that was cool too. I was like, okay, she's in the pocket, so I think she's cool, and I think she deserves everything that she has, including the fact, the way that everyone worships her, kind of gets out of her way.
Yeah.
I think that's
cool.
pretty
I
cool.
really enjoyed her halftime show.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Awesome.
I thought it was so cool.
Let's talk about Paris Goebel, that choreographer, though.
Yeah.
Paris Goebel is from New Zealand. She's indigenous to New Zealand. She's Samoan, and I think she's mixed with something else as well. But that's an indigenous woman who started a dance studio for the local indigenous kids. So her entire dance troupe are, it's probably mixed now because everybody wants to dance for Paris and Rihanna and Justin Bieber, whoever she's choreographing for. But that choreography, let's talk about that's one of a kind. And now you will see people doing that old weird choreography. And that's going to become the norm because don't sleep on Paris. She has been the hip hop choreographer innovating for the last like 10 years, and she's going to get her flowers now. So I enjoyed that performance very much. That
is so cool. I love that. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Speaking of pop culture, you play Val Johnson on The Office.
I did.
Most popular show in my house for sure, and across the world. I mean, come on. So what is that like? How did you get that gig, and what are some of your favorite things about working with them?
Well, it's an awesome experience. It's a privilege and a joy to get to be an actor, and to get to book a part like that on a show like that. I confess I did not know how popular it was when I booked it. Of course, we were in season 8, I think, when I came on, and it still had 2 seasons to go. And so since it's been off the air, I mean, it's just been amazing, like the attention to the show. I mean, I've cut my hair off and everything. I did that for 2 reasons. One is because no one cares what a director looks like. And so I was like, right, we cut my hair.
I love your hair.
Thank you. Me too.
I love it.
Yeah. And 2 is because I really wanted to swim. I like to swim, and like having dreadlocks and swimming.
Yeah, not a good plan. No.
Yeah. Which brings me to like one of my favorite / not so favorite memories of being on the show, which was, I think Daryl Craig's character was really going for Val. They were at a party and at someone's house. I think it was at Robert California's house, and they had me swimming, and I love to swim, just like I just said. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a swimming scene. Bet. So of course I put my locks up on top of my head. I'm like, let's go. And they're like, no, you have to take them down. It looks sexier that way. I'm like, what? Like no one swims with their locks down like that.
Right, yeah, I'm swimming.
What? Yeah, and so I'm in this pool, and of course it was like California, which is cold, so they heated the pool and they had us like in this kind of dome, so it was like a sauna. So now I'm in a heated pool with my locks swimming back and oh my god,
oh my goodness,
I was
what a mess.
like it like, and they had me going back and forth, and I was like, you guys are trying to kill me, not
Right.
hook me up with Craig's character. But yeah, it was a pretty wild day for me. I remember
Yeah.
thinking like, this is not how I wanted to make my debut as a swimmer.
And now who's going to take care of this hair when I
Jeez
get out of this
Louise,
water?
it was crazy. Like just locks just, they fill with water.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're just like, so that's what it was. I was just literally drowning with my own hair, literally.
And you got to squeeze them out one by one.
Totally,
I mean,
totally. People have no idea the 2-hour drying process,
Oh.
So when you're doing comedy, are there moments where like there's sometimes that it's funny and then sometimes you're like, this isn't funny, but it ends up being funny?
Always.
Yeah. So
Always.
what's it like performing comedy and not getting it? Like,
it's hard because
Yeah.
you want it to be funny and you want to have a sense that it is funny, and when it's not, you know it right away. You and
Yeah.
your team partner, and you do your best to correct. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I can remember a couple of scenes from not just The Office, but just life, just lots of shows where it doesn't work, and you do your best, and sometimes you don't know what the audience is going to find funny. What we think is funny in the room may not be funny to the audience once we, put it out to them or whatever. The audience didn't have a studio, The Office didn't have a studio audience.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to tell. So you judge it based on your expertise. You've been doing it for years and years, and you trust those writers because they were brilliant. The writers on The Office were brilliant, and the lead writer just awesome. And so they really, really did take care of us, and you trust a lot. Yeah, you do a lot, trusting yourself, trusting your scene partner, and trusting the editor, and trusting the writers in particular.
Yeah. Okay, I have to ask a question about Craig because our youngest son is like watching it for the third time. So
Okay.
what's Craig like? He just wanted to know, if you're talking to Ameena, what's Craig like?
Did Alex put this up to this?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I hope these people appreciate me talking about him. What if I was be like, he's terrible.
We could get the good stuff then, but no.
Yeah, right. He's a great guy. Again, I won't pretend to be somebody's best friend if I'm not. What I'll say is that he had a lot to do with me getting on the show, because he and I were acquainted before I got on the show, because we're both musicians, and I was in a band that Craig was friends with our rapper and our singer, because we're all actors in a band. That way when you get a gig, no one's mad. I booked a commercial. Good for you.
Yeah.
No one's mad at you for missing rehearsal.
Right.
So Craig was acquainted with our band before I got on the show. So when I came in and auditioned, I think he was just kind of like, oh snap, so it was good. He's lovely. He's a good human.
That's cool. Okay, so you mentioned we were talking about The Office and how popular it is. So didn't you you did a reunion con, is what it's called, for all of the Office fans that come to a convention, and there's like thousands of people there. So what is it like being a part of something like that, where these rabid fans, like 10 years after the show's been on,
I know,
are still just coming out and loving it just as much?
It's wonderful, and I'm grateful. How's that for an answer?
Yeah.
It's awesome, and I'm super grateful. Yeah, I'm stoked about you guys. We all are, by the way. Like the cast, we get together and we just really appreciate you all very much, and we appreciate what you do for us, because we are literally here to entertain you. We're servants to you, to the public, and the way that you all show appreciation is greatly felt by the cast members. We talk about it all the time, like every time we get together. So we say thank you to you. Thank you.
Okay, did you see the viral clip of Rain when he was on the plane? He was sitting...
he's wearing a mask, and then the
guy next to him is watching The Office?
Yeah,
that was
some
so
of these
funny.
memes, they're hard to miss. Some of these memes, I think there's one of me and Phyllis going around right now too. But yeah, I have seen that one of Rain. Here's the funny thing. I didn't even recognize him. Like I've seen that, because memes, they just come around. I saw that meme and I was like, who is that? Like with the mask on. It's like, dude, you're pretty incognito. He's a nice guy as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is so awesome. So on top of being a on-stage performer, you are also the theatrical director of the two-ring Lion King, right?
Not anymore. I have moved on. So I'm full-time director with Disney. And so I was up, but I still am technically, but we just found out a couple of days ago that the show that I am the director for is closing. It's the Star Wars Galactic STARCRUISER.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I was on that project, but I'm still full-time with Disney. So now I'm just on some other projects. I'm on Essence Festival. Yeah.
But you were with Lion King there for a little bit. Yeah. We just went to New York not too long ago. We caught Lion King, Dear Evan Hansen, and Music Man.
Oh, great.
Had to go see Hugh Jackman, of course. But anyways, that is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how was the Music Man in comparison to Dear Evan Hansen?
Okay. I love them. Different. I love them both for totally different reasons.
Yeah.
Like Music Man is like my favorite movie and musical, and I couldn't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And then she came up with Evan Hansen. I really didn't know anything about it, and I thought it was phenomenal. I love this. I love the staging of it. Like it was very modern, and it was just. I thought it was super cool.
Did you see Dear Evan Hansen?
Yeah.
And how they have the band kind of up there.
Yeah.
Being on the
Yeah, I think it's really good. That's why I asked the comparison between Dear Evan Hansen and Music Man, because they're one is
totally different. Yeah.
It's really that's like the difference in, modern theater and sort of old school theater, and the fact that Music Man still resonates, I think says a lot about the way that we've built musical theater as a delivery vehicle to you, really, to the fans, to the people. Yeah, but Dear Evan Hansen, I think, is very good. It's I really enjoyed it. Complex themes and I thought they pulled them off well.
Yeah, I think I took you in there and you didn't really even know what it was about.
At the time I didn't.
Right.
You had been singing some of the songs from the soundtrack, but I didn't know.
Right. Yeah. And then you could get me into Music Man because Hugh Jackman.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We're all very happy about Hugh Jackman. Like in the community, we're like, go Hugh.
That's
right. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, what can he not do? He's
fantastic. He's a guy that you love to give the praise to, right? Because he really seems to care about all the projects that he's in, and it doesn't seem as though he's moonlighting. It feels as though he's one of us, and it's really fantastic.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Star Wars. So we are big Disney people, and so I was wondering, how was that directing for that entire gig? That's so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. It takes a team of directors.
I bet.
Yeah, because it's just, the round the clock aspect of it. It's a lot of work. Incredibly fulfilling project in terms of what it accomplished, in terms of putting this idea out there of a 2-day immersive, live action role play that you get to spend the night at the hotel. So we're all very proud of it. Very sad that it's closing. But yeah, it was, I've been flirting with Disney Imagineering for years. That's kind of how I came into Disney, was through Disney Imagineering, like the think tank. And so I was just very happy to get to work with them again. When I got the call from Wendy Anderson, who was a creative director on the Star Wars project. She and I had worked together for years in LA. Her as a director, me as a choreographer, and different things. So it was really fun to come in. It was ambitious and massive and heartfelt, and I do believe that we changed a lot of lives there. I saw some incredible moments that changed me as a director. I was like, that's incredible, some of the things that I saw happen on the STARCRUISER. So if you get a chance before it closes, you really should.
I would love to do that.
End of September, I think. Yeah, right.
So within that immersive stuff, isn't that a lot of improv by the actors? Like they have to react to the guests and
no question. We have what we call scripted and unscripted moments, and the scripted moments, flow, but even those can be interrupted by a guest, in which case you answer them in real time and you get them back on story, as we call it, but yes, it's a lot of improv and with a very specific training and technique. So it's not, yes, someone can come up to you and say anything that they want, but for the most part, people are in the stories. So people aren't just coming up to you to break the game, and say something crazy. They're coming. So typically, and then also the actor will have a number of prompts that in this unscripted moment. Like, for example, Sandro's going to come out here and he's going to write a song for Wani with guests. So he knows exactly what he's out there to do.
Yeah.
So he's not going to go out there and make pancakes, and he's not going to go out there and make a cell phone call. He's going to go out there and he's going to make a song with Wani, or for Wani, using guests. And so he's going to be leading through that unscripted moment. So even though there is interaction, we try and quote unquote control it as much as possible to keep the show on the
keep it on task at least.
That's so cool. I didn't really think about the improv that takes place. Did you take some improv classes ever, or did you?
Oh my gosh, tons. In fact, I actually thought I was going to start out at, like, be an improv actor. Like, that was what I did in high school. I went to a great performing arts high school in Atlanta. Totally thought I was going to be that, like, improv comedian. I mean, I was so mischievous, as I'm saying, total class clown. Like, why wouldn't I grow up? I thought I was going to be comedian, Saturday Night Live. I thought that was my course until I got to Tisch and they were like, no, experimental theater. And I was like, experimental theater? Excuse me? I'm modern and cool. And they were like, you're experimental. And
in your lane.
That's funny.
So what high school did you go to? Where'd you live in Atlanta?
I lived in what's now called Brookhaven, but I lived in Atlanta. Northeast Atlanta is where I'm from, inside the perimeter. But my school was in a neighborhood called Avondale Estates, which is adjacent to Decatur. So my school was called Avondale High School for the Performing Arts, and I wasn't the only one that went there. Like, we had a great program.
Really?
Wonderful people that have come out of there and who have careers in film and TV. Stacey Abrams was in the class right before me. Like, we had people at that school who were like, had their heads on and were gonna do something.
That's cool. I grew up I went to high school just south of Atlanta in McDonough.
Okay.
Stockbridge, kind of down in
that. A little further south. Than us, but for sure.
So when you were working on the Star Wars stuff, did you have to go to Florida?
Oh, I'm in Florida now. I live in Orlando now.
Okay, so you were already in there.
I'm sitting here burning up in my office.
Are you?
It's super hot out there.
It's pretty mild.
We're in Texas now, and it's pretty mild here right now.
Yeah, it's super humid here in Florida. It is crazy humid, and I'm from Atlanta, and I'm like, oh my God, it's but LA is very dry. So from LA I went to Atlanta, which was a nice little halfway point. I got my seasons. I love the climate there. And then they sent me here, and I'm just like, yo, it's a swamp.
It's
like tropical.
Just
for sure.
Sweating all the time.
It's a swamp.
We've talked about all the things you've done. There's just crazy stuff, but then also you're in the Marvel universe.
I am in the Marvel universe.
I don't know that everybody knows that. You're Gamora's mother in Infinity War.
Yeah.
What was that experience like, being on this giant movie?
Which also ages. I mean, look how young she is.
Yeah, it was like, it was like amazing in a couple of ways. One is that it's the biggest show ever made. Those two films, the two biggest shows ever. And you wouldn't know it by walking on the set in terms of the vibe. You would know it by all the security and all of the NDAs that I had to sign. Like, you gotta, before you audition, you sign an NDA. You get that script, you sign an NDA. The person reading with you signs an NDA. You send it, like, you book it, you sign an NDA. You arrive on the set, you sign an NDA. Before you walk into the costume room, you sign an NDA.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's intense. And so that part was very, I guess, like, organized and managed. And when you got on set, the Russo brothers did such a good job of making us feel like it was just chill. Everything was totally chill. Everything's fine. We got this totally under control. Nobody was screaming. The vibe was chill. Everyone was like relaxed. They'd walk over to you, give you some direction. Okay, that's great. And like, we just had a blast together. And I got the credit in Endgame because I came back and I did a bunch of the motion capture stuff for Gamora, basically. Savannah and I are the same height, same size, and so I did a bunch of her, like, scenes with Thanos, Josh Brolin's character, And yeah, so I got to be kind of all over that movie incognito, as well as a little bit of time, which I really enjoyed and had a blast doing it. I mean, what can I say? You know, that it wasn't awesome. It was awesome. Like
awesome.
doing the motion capture was really fun. I felt like, if I did investigate this avenue of my career more, I think I would go in this direction, and that I might end up wanting to be some sort of director or a movement coach for motion capture, and helping actors figure out like how their character moves, because I'm very in my body, and that's my background, martial arts and dance and all that kind of stuff. That's how I ended up there. Essentially, I knew those casting directors from some other projects, and I'm an old martial artist, and so I had my bow staff pulled out and was doing all this stuff, and ended up booking that wonderful part that I got, Gamora's mother. And so, yeah, it was really fun.
That's so cool. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
I have not seen it yet. I have not seen it.
No spoilers.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list. Yeah. I already had one foot sort of out. I booked the Avengers movies when I was in Atlanta, already being a director. Atlanta was my transition phase from actor to director. Then I went to Atlanta so that I could still audition and do stuff. And so I already had one foot out of acting when those films came around. So I'm super grateful for the nugget that I did get.
Yeah.
What is it that you love about directing so much?
Yeah. I think I can answer that question better in 20 years.
Okay.
But the young director will say that I like that it allows me to pull my skill sets together: music, dance, storytelling. But it all gets used. My work is very spectacle based, but it's meant to deliver human stories that connect us, like that human thread, the tie that binds, as opposed to the politics that separate. I'm much more about us as human beings, and the things that we can all relate to. And so I really like getting to tell stories from that point of view, of just like just us as human beings. I can't stress that enough, that I like that human thread, and directors get to tell those stories. And and I don't know if I'll be a director forever. I can see myself tending towards producer, so that I can provide these opportunities for people coming up after me. But right now I'm in the directing phase, and it feels good to put up stories, and to help writers put up stories, and to help actors play characters that they love, that they can put their whole self into. So
I think that's what those characteristics make you a very well-rounded director. All of the experiences that you bring to the table.
Trying to be like, my shows are crazy. There's lots of music, dance, run around, flip off that, run, throw that thing, let's go.
I love it. I would love to
control chaos.
That sounds so fantastic. So give us I know we talked a little bit about successes and failures, but to the young person that's drumming on their desk, give some advice to that young person who might be wanting to move in a direction that you've moved in. And what would you say to them? And then I'd like to know, what would you say to their parents? If their parents are just going a little crazy, like, why do you keep doing that? Why do you, trying to rein them in, but sometimes that stifles that creativity. So both of those people real fast.
So to the kids, I would say, just be honest with yourself. And by that, I mean, in every way possible. I do believe that one of the main reasons why I've had a career is that I've been honest with myself, and who I am in the market, and what the world I'm in is about, and how it treats me, what it means to me as a woman, as a Black person, as an American, as a person of my age, whatever. Be honest with yourself as you are going into this business. And parents, I would say, if you have a kid who you think is crazy, they might be an artist. If they are bouncing off the wall, they might be an artist. And I think sometimes art, all the time, I know it, I don't even think it, art gets a bad rap because there's no money. It's a lot of times in what we do, and there's a very small sort of echelon of people that make money. That is changing. The internet has changed that. Just look on YouTube and TikTok. Everybody has a movie studio in their pocket. I'm being interviewed by people who have created their own show. That's the entertainment industry, and you guys are doing it. So I don't think we can say anymore that entertainment doesn't make money. The thing that I would like to say is that a lot of times these kids that are artists get misidentified as kids that are bad or that are mischievous or have ADHD or whatever. Maybe we do have ADHD, but we're artists.
Yes.
And those are superpowers in the arts. And so push those superpowers to be used for good as opposed to tamping them down.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Those are great words.
I think we have said those same words, so I really appreciate that. I think that's so smart. Well, I want to fly to Orlando and have a Ronto roaster with you in Galaxy's Edge. What a fun time that would be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm around. I'm in.
That's right. You're so close. So we can't thank you enough for spending time with us, girl. I feel like we could just talk to you for another 5 hours and learn so much more. So I appreciate your mind. I appreciate your talents and your abilities, and I appreciate your willingness to share those with a couple of parents from Texas.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Y'all seem like my people. Y'all are Southerners. Y'all got a nice down home, easy-going vibe, and I'm like, because in my heart, I am a Southerner for sure.
That's
as much as I've traveled away, I'm like, yep, I'm probably a Southerner. So it's lovely to meet you guys, and I hope that the podcast comes out well for you. The interview comes out well.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's awesome.
Much, AMEENAH.
Pleasure.
All right, her last statement really got me in the feels. It's exactly
so good.
how I feel about that artistic kid. I mean, sometimes I just think we want to stifle it, and I feel like just let it fly. Just let it go.
Well, I think it's also it's knowing the kid enough to know, like, sometimes if someone's being off the wall like that, sometimes there is a problem. But I don't think most of the time.
Yeah.
But I think when you have in defense of teachers, like, you have a big classroom and you have one person that's constantly acting up, to keep the class moving, you've got to do something with that one person.
Right. Yeah.
But it takes a special teacher to go, okay, I still see something in you. Like her teacher did, like, I'm going to figure out a way to get you through class because this isn't your favorite thing to do, but I'm going to get you through class, and then we're going to look at what talents you do have.
Right.
And I just think that's important as like a teacher and as a parent. It's like, even when kids are going wild, maybe there's, like she said, maybe that person's an artist.
Right.
Like, they think outside the box for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah. I totally agree. That really resonated with me, that what she had to say. But I mean, goodness, she has so many other cool talents. And if you guys have not, you just need to go check out her Instagram. She does a lot of cool, even dance moves and rhythms on there that I think were really cool. I just watch them all day long. So I thought this interview was amazing. We guys hope you enjoyed.
Well, I have to mention, we're getting street cred from our kids because they all love The Office.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, Alex is on his 3rd watching of The Office on Peacock. So we totally have street cred as parents. So Rebecca, good job.
Yeah, good job. We're winning today.
Yeah.
Party 5.5 over and out.
We'll see you next time.